Climate disruption is an existential threat to our planet.
This is a warning of what global warming does to all of us.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction.
The number one issue, not only facing our country, but facing our world.
Life on Earth can't adapt fast enough to the changes that are happening.
It just needs to be brought to the forefront more and discussed more.
Climate change is among the top 5 most important topics to be discussed during the presidential election. It is the first or second priority for 21% of voters. However, is this topic as important to presidential candidates as it is to the people? Across the world, ice caps are melting, sea levels are rising, and several species of animals are going extinct.
We know why it's happened. We've increased the amount of carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere 31% just since 1960.
In 2019, global carbon emissions hit an all-time high.
America leads as the country with the most cumulative CO2 emissions since 1750. By 2018, we had produced 400 billion tons of carbon emissions. China follows with 213 billion tons. The United States accounts for 25% of the world's cumulative carbon emissions.
I think it's just our cycle of our transportation, our population, the industry itself, just our industrialization of all our needs.
In the U.S. and were the major contributors due to the Industrial Revolution, right? So they were the ones, just burning fossil fuels and building their economies, and while some other countries weren't as developed at the time. So we actually put most of the carbon that's causing the problem in the atmosphere.
An effective way of slowing down the effects of global warming is the adoption and emphasis on renewable energy through solar and wind technologies.
Renewable energy is an exciting new source for jobs. In 2016, more than 800,000 people were under renewable energy employment, while the number of coal jobs has dropped to below 100,000.
So number one is we got to go to 100% renewable energy. And by renewable energy, that means solar and wind. You'll hear people saying, well, we need hydro power, we need nuclear power. But no, those aren't renewable energies. Those are actually cause a lot of carbon emissions and pollution.
What is our town doing to slow down the effects of global warming?
One thing was every building is trying to get to a point where we have solar panels. If we can do that, then we can reduce our footprint overall on energy consumption.
Doing to slow down the effects?
So we're obviously promoting a lot of alternative energy. We have some solar farms that we're putting up. We have finally installed the electric charging station. We just passed a restriction on the bags in the grocery store.
Right now we're working on the electric vehicle bills. The governor has challenged us to be able to get more electric vehicles on the road within the next, by 2025. And then again by 2035 to really ramp up. California is the leader in electric vehicles.
Currently, California's Clean Vehicle Rebate Project gives $2,500 to drivers who lease or buy battery electric vehicles. California plans to have 5 million zero-emission vehicles, or ZEVs, on the state's roads by 2030. This is modeled on California's solar initiative, which offers credit to homes based on the performance of their solar panels.
There are some obstacles to beneficial change.
One such challenge was America's removing itself from the Paris Agreement. America had signed this agreement, which limited the rise in the world's overall temperature to below 2 degrees Celsius in 2016. Among the signatories were America, India, China, and the EEA, which together make up a majority of the world's carbon emissions. A survey from 2016 shows that 69% of voters supported America's participation in this agreement.
Paris Accord was different than a lot of its predecessors in that each country submitted its own nationally determined contribution to reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
In 2017, President Trump decided to remove America from the agreement because large polluting countries like India and China were not required to act on this issue until 2030. Voters did not support this argument, saying regardless of what other countries did, America needed to start reducing greenhouse gas emissions.
But the United States, under President Trump, he's decided to back out of that agreement. And that's very concerning to many people. And so we're trying to figure out how do we move forward. And many states are moving forward, even though the president has said he will not commit to that.
Counteracting global warming will be difficult until it is economically beneficial for the people.
Many people think that helping with global warming is very costly, but this is not always the case. Electric cars and solar panels are being made cheaper, and there are talks about creating incentives for people to go green, such as the carbon tax.
Carbon emissions would pay a fee starting at $40 a ton. It would be economy-wide. It would increase energy costs, which is what reduces carbon emissions. But all the money raised goes directly back to American citizens, and a family of four would get about $2,000 a year. What that means is that 70% of Americans, including the most vulnerable, win by solving climate change.
The public needs to understand that making these types of investments right now is going to reduce their own costs as taxpayers later on.
It's actually more economical to produce electricity via solar panels compared to coal-fired power plants, which are probably the biggest emitter of greenhouse gases.
Global warming needs to be discussed more. Humanity is at a crossroads, and it's time to make the right choice. This is our last chance, and what we do now will define our future.